Welcome back, everybody. My name is Taylor Martin. This is the best Damn EDC, and I have a lot of knives. I don't think anybody will argue that. I have a lot of knives, probably far more than anybody should have. More than, honestly, I'm comfortable with, because I don't like safe queens, and I don't really have time to carry all the knives that I love. So I've been thinking about getting rid of a lot of the knives that haven't seen the light of day in a long time, and it also got me thinking about the knives that I absolutely would not sell, no questions asked, and I came up with these 10. There may be more, but for sure, without a doubt in my mind, these are 10 knives that I would never sell. For one reason or another, it would not even cross my mind. So that's what this video is about. 10 knives that I couldn't sell even if I wanted to. And with that said, let's do the damn thing. So like many of you, when I go to purge after a long time of buying new products, be it for videos or my own personal collection, I always struggle. I always have a hard time getting rid of things. I'm a little bit of a hoarder. You could probably see behind this camera setup, there's a lot of stuff. There's always a lot of stuff. And even when I get rid of a lot of stuff, more stuff comes. That's just the nature of having an EDC YouTube channel. There's always stuff coming to my P.O. box, my house, my office address. Like, there's just always stuff. But I have gone through several purges in the last even year or two, and none of these knives have ever even come close to being on the chopping block, and I don't think they ever will. So, and then that could be because of sentimental value, the story behind it, or because I just really, really like the knife. So I'm gonna take you through all of these and just talk about them and why I would not sell them. Let's start with, I think, the most mundane of any of these knives, which would probably be the quiet carry. So, quiet carry drift, there is honestly nothing super spectacular about this knife. It's a production knife. They drop them every so often. They're not incredibly hard to come by, especially not impossible to come by. In fact, I have two of them. I have the original with the thumb hole and the thumb stud, and when it comes down to it, originally I said that I preferred the thumb hole version, and I don't think that's totally incorrect. I do like it, but I think after having both, I would definitely keep the thumb stud version. You can just deploy it a little easier with your thumb. Spidey flicking it is still easy. With this one, it's just a geometry fail, to be completely honest. Opening it with your thumb is possible, but not easy. That said, Spidey flicking the thumb hole version is very, very easy, which is normally how I open it anyway. But regardless, I think just for functionality's sake, I would keep the thumb stud version. And this one has actually been on the chopping block and nobody bought it. I tried to sell this in my Discord server and no one purchased it. So next time I do a purge, I will probably be throwing the thumb hole version of the quiet carry drift in there. So the reason that I really, really love this knife, other than it having just really fantastic ergonomics and being, I think, the perfect size and shape for an EDC knife, I really like this. This is my favorite knife to take backpacking. But what I really love about this is that it's totally stainless. As many of you guys know, I rust knives. M390, S90V, S110V, S45VN, S35VN, you name it, I've rusted it except for about 3 or 4 blade steels. One of those being Van-X, Terrain365 LC200N, and as of currently, I have not yet rusted Magna Cut, so hopefully that's not possible, but it shouldn't be. But this is a totally stainless knife, and what I mean by that is it has a Van-X blade, which is a corrosion-resistant blade. You have titanium scales, titanium hardware. The lock bar insert is LC200N, which is another corrosion-resistant steel, and then you do not have bearings in this. You have phosphor bronze washers, which also are not corrosion or are corrosion-resistant. So, in theory, this knife should never rust on me. I mean, you'd have to really, really, really try hard to get this thing to rust. And that's one reason I will not get rid of this. I need a knife, one, if I go fishing at the beach, but also backpacking where I'm sweating a ton. I just don't want a knife that's gonna rust on me. So that's why this one comes into play. I went backpacking with an Umnumzaan. I rusted it. So I now have a dedicated backpacking folding knife that I'm never gonna sell. And just keeping with that trend, this is same idea, same concept. This is the Invictus-ATB, which means bolster version, right? So this has partial scales with a bolster. This is from Prometheus Design Works, the Invictus is, but this is a collaboration with Terrain365, who makes Terravantium steel, or at least created it. And this is another highly corrosion resistant steel, and I don't even think this one is able to be rusted. Like, I don't think it's possible. I could be wrong. I am not a metallurgist, but same concept here, right? Everything's either titanium, or there's nothing on this that will corrode. So it's one of the reasons I'll keep this, but I actually really love the design and the blade shape on this knife. The action on it is just stupid good. But what I really like about this version, and I almost had to reach out to either Terrain365 or Prometheus, is that it has these glow inserts for your thumb studs. These are not trit, but they are glow-in-the-dark thumb studs, which is just really cool. It's not something you see very often, but I almost wish they were tritium. Doesn't matter. I think this knife is really great, and this is a user for me. I actually handed this one to TC at the Bushcraft event, the Campfire Co-op, and he dropped it in the rocks. It's got some rolled parts on the edge. It's got some chunks on it. Don't worry, TC, I don't care. I genuinely don't. This is a user for me, and I want to buy another one, so I've got 2 of them, but I just really love the appearance of this knife and the way it feels. I love everything about this knife. This is almost a perfect knife. Now, as far as Terravantium goes, I really don't have a whole lot of experience with it, and I don't know how it holds up in terms of edge retention. I don't really care as long as it holds an edge decently well and is easy to sharpen. But I haven't sharpened this yet. It needs an edge pretty bad, but still, this is just one that's going to stay in the collection, and I will probably grab another one, even if it's a different variant of the Invictus, and it may be a Terrain365 collaboration, or it may not, but I just really love this knife in general. I think it's a brilliant design, beautiful knife, and I'm glad to have it. And I think this is the last of the kind of mundane knives, if you want to call it that. This is probably my favorite knife. If I were to keep one out of my collection, I've been saying it for years, it would be the Reeve Umnumzaan. It's just a beefcake. It's built exceptionally well. It's very, very tough and strong. It's still slicey, and I love the way it looks. I love everything about this knife. And again, if I had only one knife, it would be this one. For sure, no doubt in my mind, Reeve Umnumzaan. So because of that, I'm not getting rid of it. I absolutely love this thing. The only way I would get rid of it is if I got another one. This one's S35. If I got an S45, I would probably sell this one, but I would not sell an Umnumzaan without having my hands on another one. This is one that's always going to be in the collection. I just absolutely love this knife. And that's really all there is to say about it. I mean, it's just a beefcake. It's got really, really great QC, fits in the hand well, fits in the pocket well, and I love carrying it. So Reeve Umnumzaan, never selling it, unless I upgrade to S45. But other than that, not selling it. The only other one that I would say is kind of in that same camp, maybe, as far as mundane goes, is this one right here. This is the Shirogorov Neon Zero. One of the reasons I'm not selling this one is because I laid the edge back to like 16 or 17 degrees. It is extremely sharp now, and it's not got the best edge on it, but it's just one that I love. I think this is, again, a near perfect knife. The only way that I would get rid of this one is if there were a Vanex version on the horizon for me. So love the Neon Zero. It's plain, simple, just elegant, and I think it's a fantastic knife. I really love the Shirogorov work and the design language. I love everything about this, and this is not my first Shirogorov. I would sell the F95 RT before I would sell the Neon Zero. I do think the F95 RT is slightly better in terms of its construction and even the size and shape. I really like that one, but I have a blue, we'll call it turtle milling. I would rather have either a frag pattern or just a plain F95, but I don't. So I would sell that one before this one. So that's why this one's on the list and that one isn't. But Shirogorov Neon Zero, these are like 600, 750. I don't remember exactly how much these are, but I don't really plan on spending that much on a knife very often, if ever again. It's just not something I'm super interested in doing. I think there's a lot of great knives that you could have for less, but definitely think Shirogorov knives are phenomenal, and glad I have this one. Also, before we go any further, you can probably hear my voice. It's getting deeper and harder to talk, and that's because I just got my voice kind of back, not 100%, but yeah, we're gonna power through this. Okay, so now we get into customs, limiteds, and those are the reasons I'm not getting rid of these knives. This one has almost been on the chopping block, but I came to my senses. This is a Spyderco Nirvana. They've been discontinued for a long time. I'm now seeing these things go for well over $900, which I think is kind of ludicrous. I paid $400 after, like, well after this was discontinued, and I think there's people just gouging now because they are becoming harder and harder to find, but I just have no desire to get rid of my Nirvana. I don't carry it a whole lot, mainly because they are a limited resource and I don't really feel like paying for a custom Nirvana, which is now in the like $2,000 range, I believe. I think like 1,200 table, maybe 1,400, but that's if you're lucky enough to get table. Secondary, they're definitely not cheap. I love this knife. This was the first Grail knife for me because they were discontinued. They were really hard to find, and the timing never worked out for me. And I finally got my hands on this one. And one of the reasons I'm not selling this one is the story behind it. So, oh man, I cannot remember his name. It's a knife designer that I bought this from. Oh man, he's a designer for Spyderco. I cannot remember what knife he designs, but basically, I saw this thing listed on Reddit. I purchased the knife, and then he later DM'd me and told me the story behind this. But basically, he had a Nirvana. It was defective, right? I think it had some lock rock or some issue, and he got it exchanged by Spyderco under warranty, but they didn't have them anymore because they're discontinued. So this was the Nirvana that was on display at Spyderco headquarters. So he got that knife and then sold it, and I now own the one that was on display at Spyderco headquarters. So that's kind of cool, and the reason, one of the reasons that I'm not ever gonna get rid of this Nirvana. So you can stop asking. Please and thank you. This is one of the very first exclusives that I ever got my hands on. This I got as a gift. Actually, did I purchase this? No, I purchased a regular Synapse from the original drop from Joseph Vero, and then this is what actually came in the mail. This is supposed to be an OD green belt satin finish version of this knife, and this is what I got. I didn't even know at the time that this was what was coming. This is a Bacon Damascus Synapse, and I get more questions about selling this knife than probably any other in my collection. And this has been a user. You can see I've got scratches in the finishes. I don't care. I like to use my knives, and no different here. I'm not gonna sell this, but I'm also not gonna make it a Safe Queen. This is just, I think there were 10 of these made originally. And he's done different Bacon releases ever since, but the Bacon Synapse was the original, and only 10 of them made, and I got one of them. So I'm very fortunate, I'm very thankful, thank you Joseph, but this one is definitely gonna stay in the collection until the end of time. I love the Damascus. I'm not normally a Damascus fan, but I love the design in this Damascus, and I'm very happy that I have one of these in my collection, and no, I'm not gonna sell it. I've been offered 900 plus for this thing. It's not going anywhere, sorry. This one is another that I just absolutely adore. This is a Pena Mula custom. It is just a smaller Mula. It is not a Caballero, and the biggest tell is this thumb ramp. So many people are like, it's a Caballero. No, it's a Pena Mula. I have clarified that, I have confirmed that. It's a Pena Mula. But regardless, this one is staying in my collection, mainly because how it came to be in my possession, and also the fact that I really, really love the finish, the butterscotch micarta, the hand rub finish on the blade, and it's just perfection. I think this thing is made exceptionally well, and the way that it came into my possession actually also surprised Enrique, because at the last Blade show, he walked up to me, he's like, hey, we need to talk, and I pulled this out of my pocket, and he's like, wait, how do you have that? And basically what happened is Blade HQ bought some customs from him, and before they listed them, Timote over at Blade HQ gave me first pick out of the blue. I walked into a hotel room, and he's like, hey, I've been looking for you. And I'm like, okay, hi, nice to meet you. And he's like, yeah, I heard you like Pena knives, and I've got some stuff for you to look at. And I was like, okay. So this is the one I selected, mainly because I had a pocket clip. There was another one I was looking at, but yeah, it was just kind of cool to get first pick like that. I didn't ask for any kind of special treatment. It was just offered to me, and if it's offered to you, you take it, right? Like, that's just what happens. So because of that, the story behind it, and also the fact that I absolutely love the way this knife looks, this one's staying in the collection. Kind of a similar deal here. This is a ProTech Runt 5. This was one of the prototypes that came out just before Blade Show last year. I think they were actually released at Blade Show, but a few of these were seeded out to people, and I was one of the lucky ones that got one. This is serial number 33 of 40, or 42. It's 40. But it's almost worn off because the bronze has patinaed so much that it's covered that up. But yeah, so you've got this really cool thumb ramp. You guys know about the Runt by now, but this one is hand ground by Mike Irie, and so that makes this a semi-custom or a mid-tech or whatever you want to call it, but it's a prototype mid-tech. Like, it's rare and it's cool, and I love the knife itself. I think it's a great size. It's kind of classy, and I love the mosaic button. I absolutely love that detail. Show it a little closer here. The mosaic button is just such a nice touch. I've said it a few times. I wish that I didn't have a mirror finish on mine, just because it's impossible to keep clean. But the knife itself is just a fantastic get, and I'm glad this one's in the collection. And because it's so rare, it's never leaving. All right, the last two are also customs. This one was a present from Worksharp. I really still don't know why they sent it, but they did. This is a Birdvis Hitchcock, and they sent a few of these out to different creators that they work with. The interesting thing about this one for me is I've carried it a good bit, and this side has patinaed really, really well. Look how dark that OD green vintage OD micarta is, and then you flip it over and this side's bright, and I've carried it. I don't really have any specific way that I put it in my pocket, but this side has not patinaed, this side has. So I don't know. Regardless, Birdvis knives are perfection. They're just really, really nice. I love the design of this. It's unique, and the walk and talk on this is just outstanding. And I'd like to have another Birdvis in my collection at some point, but this is just one that's going to stay. I think it's a really, really great, classy slip joint knife, and it's one that I throw in the pocket fairly often. But because of this being a gift and them being so hard to get, I will not be getting rid of the Birdvis knife. So the last knife here that I'm not getting rid of is a Rhidian knife. This was actually made specifically for Sky over at Grimsmo. He's a Discord mod of mine, and he posted this for sale in the Discord server, and I snatched it up really, really quickly, mainly because I love the traditional styling of it, but it is a backlock with a thumb stud. So you can actually slow open this, or if you really want, you can flick this knife open. And I've yet to come across a knife that is quite like this. Any production knives, there's a few that are locked back with a thumb stud, but it's not quite the same as this. But this is a Rhidian Rogue Wave Midlock with a trapper blade, vintage OD micarta scales, and a Zerk shield. Just a really, really cool, unique piece, and I get a lot of questions about this when I do carry it and use it. I think it's wonderful. The ergonomics on it are just stupid good, and even though this was not originally made specifically for me or to my spec, this is probably exactly how I would have a Rhidian knife made for me. So because of that, and how rare and different and unique this is, I'm not getting rid of it, and I will probably get another Rhidian in due time. He has a really, really great selection of knives. His work is so, so nice, and yeah, this Rogue Wave is here to stay in my collection. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful, like modern traditional-esque knife. Just a great, great design, and it's hard to beat, so this one's staying. But that's it. Those are the 10 knives that are staying in my collection. I'm sure there are other ones that I will never sell, but as far as ones that I'm definitely not ever putting on the chopping block, at least again, I almost sold the Nirvana, That was dumb. That was really dumb, but I didn't. I will be posting some knives for sale at some point in the near future. I don't know when. I'm still in the process of moving, so it's going to be a while. But when I do, one of the knives that's definitely going up will be this Quiet Carry Drift with the thumb hole. These are no longer made, so that'll be going on the chopping block, but I'm sure there's going to be some cool and unique stuff that has just been collecting dust in my other office. So if you're interested in that, just join the Discord. It's linked down below, or just discord.gg/EDC. There's people selling stuff there all the time if you're interested in buying secondhand or even selling for yourself. But yeah, I'll be selling some stuff in the near future. But I will be linking all of these knives down below. A lot of them are either very difficult or impossible to find. So sorry in advance about that, but I'll link them just for your own reference, at least the brands, if nothing else. But that's all for now. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, just hit those links, and some of those will be affiliate links. You can also go to patreon.com/bestdamnedc to support there. But that's it for now. Thank you guys for watching again, and until next time, carry on.